What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Cody Campbell with High Ground Gaming, and today we're unboxing a few products. Rig has just come out with a new lineup that they're releasing. We've got the 500 Pro HX headset. They've also got a 700 Pro headset, which is the wireless version. This is the wired one. They didn't send us the wireless, so this is the one we'll be testing. They've also got the Rig Pro Compact wired Xbox and PC controller. So we're also going to be unboxing and taking a look at that. I'm going to start out by walking you through the specs, then we'll go to the unboxing portion. I'll open them up and let you take a look at the products. After that, we'll go to the review section when I've had some time with them, and I'll let you know my thoughts. And from there, we'll go to High Ground Gaming's final score. Stick around. Let's start by talking about the 500 Pro HX, the headset. That's the one I'm really excited about. So this is the second generation of this headset. It comes in 3 versions. You can get the Xbox version, the PC version, or the PlayStation version. They sent us the Xbox version, but the Xbox version actually works with PC as well, so that's how I'll be testing it. Each speaker comes with 50mm drivers, which is actually bigger than the ones available in the 700. Those are 40mm drivers. It has 3D sound with Dolby Atmos. It has a metal headband. It has a flip to mute mic, which is actually removable, which is something I really care about because I like using a USB mic on my desktop. And so it's really nice to be able to take the headset mic off. And it also has ear cups that are both leatherette and fabric. They're fabric on the inside and leatherette on the outside. When Rig was telling us about this, they said it's kind of a best of both worlds thing. The leatherette isolates sound while the fabric allows breathability on the ears so you don't get too hot. But those are the specs for the Rig 500 Pro HX. Let's move on to the Pro Compact. It's a lightweight wired controller. It comes with a 9.8-foot braided cable to a USB Type A connection. It has a 3.5mm jack with Dolby Atmos built into it. That's pretty cool. And it has button mapping that's actually done through an app. But that's enough about the specs. Let's get into the unboxing. I want to open these guys up and take a look at them. Let's start with the headset. All right, so it's in sort of like carton container. It's nice and secure in there. Rig, unleash precision audio for competitive edge. Customer support. We've got the necessary stickers, kind of hard to see since they're white on white, but they're there, trust me. 500 Gen 2 quick start guide, appliance information, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's get in here. So they have the headset and the microphone in here separately. Let's start with the headset. Oh, love that sound. Okay, these look pretty nice. It's got a very industrial look to them. Competitive, but not super in-your-face gamery. See how they fit. Well, they're pretty comfortable. They're very light. Much lighter than I was expecting. It looks like a heavy, thick metal frame, and I know the headband is metal, but the ear cups are very light, so the whole thing doesn't sit very heavily on the head. Ear cups are just a tiny bit small for me, but I have kind of big ears, so just open up the mic and plug that in. So here's the mic. It's got a foam pop filter on there, and it looks like it just sort of plugs in right here. Maybe that sort of snaps into place. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I had them on backwards before. There we go. So the microphone head looks a little, I don't know, just the foam. It's not my favorite, but it feels good. The adjustments are good. And like I said, I probably wouldn't end up using it anyway. The headset itself is so light though. It feels really good on my head. See, now I thought they told me that the cable was braided. I said it was braided, but it isn't. It's rubber. It's a nice rubber. It's not super cheap. It's just not braided. And it's got a volume slider and not a dial, which is fine. I'm just pointing it out. Okay, so headset down looks very cool. I'm excited about testing that. Now let's get into the controller. Just a little bit of tape on there. Okay, Pro Compact, programmable, ergonomic, 3-meter cable, 3D sounds. So this is very light, but it doesn't feel cheap. Oh, this is the thing with the braided cable. Maybe I just got those confused. So it's got these sort of copper gold accents around the thumbsticks. The thumbsticks themselves are very small, but they feel good. The buttons, on the other hand, are very large, but also feel very good, very clicky. I like that. Direction pad feels good too. Ooh. And those triggers are top notch. That feels great. That is a nice long cable, so that's good. Got the 3mm jack there. And then here's the switch on the back for switching between the generic profile that it comes with, the standard Xbox layout, or the custom button mapping mode that you would use through the app. Looks good though. I'm excited to use this. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna go play some Resident Evil 8, and I'll be back in just 1 sec with the review section. Don't go anywhere. All right, folks, I'm gonna start out by talking about the 500 Pro HX. This thing is very light and very comfortable. There are a couple nitpicky things that I need to point out about it though. First of all, the fabric on the ear cups is just a tiny bit sort of scratchy on the side of my face. I would have preferred all leatherette, but leatherette doesn't breathe, fabric breathes, so there's a little bit of a give and take there. It's really a matter of personal choice. It's just, if you don't like fabric ear cups on other headphones, you're probably not gonna like these. If you do like it on other headphones, then these are gonna be great. The second thing is the headband. First of all, it's got this top metal headband, which is just really sturdy. You can stretch it, you can twist it, and it's just not gonna break. Then it has the inner headband, which is more for comfort, and it has this sort of retraction here. It comes out and it retracts so that it fits to the top of your head and supports you while you're wearing it. Now, the only downside to this is that while you're wearing it, that retraction is sort of squeezing down on the top of your head. And it didn't bother me for a long time, but after 3+ hours, I started really feeling it on the top of my head. And then I just sort of started adjusting it a little bit. Not a big deal. I just felt like I needed to point it out. And then the last thing is that the cable is just a tiny bit short for use with the PC. This is the Xbox version of this. The HX is the Xbox designation. There's also a PlayStation, an Xbox, and like a multi-console version. This one is designed to be plugged into a controller. So if you're playing PC and you're playing with a controller, you can plug it in to the controller. If you're playing PC and you planned on plugging it into the tower because you're playing mouse and keyboard, then this probably isn't the best choice. You should get the PC version in that case, or you're gonna end up probably needing to get a 3.5mm extension. Not a fault of this at all, just something, again, that I need to point out since this is technically both Xbox and PC compatible. But now I should get into the sound quality. These sound phenomenal. The bass is really good. They're not like beats or anything where you're gonna feel it in your skull or anything like that, but it's a good strong bass. You're very aware of it. But what's great about it is it doesn't drown out the high or mid tones. Everything's very full and balanced. It sounds really good. That's actually how I generally prefer my audio. The Dolby Atmos for 3D sound is fantastic. Now that's how you're gonna hear your enemy footsteps or the shambling of zombies or anything like that. I played some Resident Evil 8 with them, and I was very aware when there were enemies behind me. It made playing the game a lot easier. Nothing ever got the drop on me while I was playing them. Another really nice thing that actually I criticized a little bit in the unboxing is the cable. Now, I mentioned that I thought this was braided for some reason. I was thinking of the controller, but I was a little disappointed when I saw that this was rubber. And it is a nice rubber, but I was like, oh, rubber, okay. But this is one of the nicer cables I've ever seen. One of the biggest problems with wired headsets is that while you're wearing them, the cable will rub on your shirt and that vibration will travel up to the ear cup and you'll hear it through the cable. Now with these, I don't know if it's the insulation or what, but just general shirt rubbing, I don't hear it at all. I mean, I can like flick it and I'll hear that, but just having it, moving it around, like I don't hear any of this right now. And it's even better when there's actually sound coming through it. So that was a really cool and kind of unexpected bonus. Now the microphone is just decent. It's a pretty good mic. Not throwing any shade at it. It's not the best I've ever heard, but it's not bad either. Here's a little sample. All right, so this is what the microphone sounds like. It's not the highest quality in the world. It's a little bit tinny, but it still sounds pretty good. Good for a headset mic anyway. So here's a little test of how it handles plosives, which are the really hard P and S sounds that tend to trip up less quality microphones. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pecks of pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? She sells seashells down by the seashore. Rubber baby buggy bumpers. So yeah, a little tinny, a little weak in the mid and low tones, but it's okay. It's not bad. It's very clear. You're going to be able to communicate very clearly with other people. You're probably not going to want to use this for recording voiceover or a podcast or anything like that, but it's not bad at all. And it definitely handled plosives really well, which is important. And also, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, it's flip to mute, which is a really cool feature. Check this out. All right, listen up, everybody. I'm going to tell you a secret. All right, you got to promise not to tell anyone that, though, okay? Don't tell anyone. So yeah, all in all, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good headset. It MSRPs for $69.99, which is a pretty good price, honestly. That puts it in the same bracket as the Razer Black Shark V2. It's actually cheaper than that headset, and for my money, I actually like this headset better. Honestly, it's probably one of, if not the best wired headsets under $100. So we actually gave this a 9 out of 10. Took 1 point off for the nitpicky things, the sort of scratchiness, the sort of tightness, the less than perfect microphone, but all in all, this is a fantastic headset, and if you're looking for a wired headset under $100, I honestly couldn't recommend this enough. But let's move on to the controller. This guy I also had a really good time with, but there's a couple of things that I need to point out about it. I'm gonna start by saying some good stuff about it though. First of all, the build quality, as I mentioned before, is absolutely top notch. All the buttons feel great. They're very clicky, especially the triggers and bumpers. Those things are fantastic, but the thumbsticks are good too, the D-pad, all solid, and it feels good in your hands. It's light, but it doesn't feel cheap, which is a very hard line to walk. I should also point out real quick that we mentioned that this one's white, comes with the gold accents and all of that, but there's also another version that comes in black. But now I need to get down to my major complaint about it and why I had a little bit of a hard time with this, and that's the fact that it's a little small for my hands. That's not really a criticism of this. It is a compact controller and I have somewhat large hands, but I need to show you this real quick. So this is the Xbox Core controller. This is the one that comes standard for the Xbox Series S and X. Now look at the way my fingers land on that there. See how when I hold it like this, so one finger's up for the trigger, there's all this space down here for my pinky to go, and it fits very comfortably on there. This controller is pretty much a perfect fit for my hand. Now I know this is a little big for some people, so That's why it's not a huge deal that when I hold this controller, there's not really a space for my pinky there. It just sort of glances off the nub right here. So you can see that difference there. But that is something that people are going to need to be aware of. This is not a controller for people with large hands. This is a small to medium size hand controller. And that's fine. Honestly, there aren't enough of these on the market right now. I know a lot of people that have smaller hands for whom the standard controller is uncomfortable, and most of the Pro controllers are uncomfortable. So this is a great controller for them, not great for everybody. One of the things I don't think I mentioned earlier is that it has this nice grip texture right here. So there's no slippage happening whatsoever on the grips. There's also a little bit of texture on the left thumbstick there for the same reason. Now let's talk about the software though. This comes with the Compact Pro software. I got it for the PC, and let me tell you, it was pretty great. You can use it to update firmware, adjust your thumbstick's response curve, your trigger sensitivity. You can turn vibration on or off. You can invert the thumbsticks if you want to. You can take the D-pad and change it from an 8-way to a 4-way D-pad or back, depending on what game you're playing and whether or not you need 8-way functionality. There are presets for fighting games, racing, sports games, FPS games, and infiltration games. During their press release, Rig told us that there's going to be an app, and that way you can still get that fine control if you're out in the living room playing on Xbox and not sitting at a computer. In terms of how it actually functions in-game, it was pretty perfect. I put on the FPS settings for when I was playing Resident Evil, and honestly, there was an immediate shift, and I definitely felt a little something there. Like I was maybe hitting my shots a little bit better, maybe getting the headshots on those swaying werewolves a little bit easier. I also definitely appreciate the button so that you can just switch it on or off, and you don't really need to worry about going into the software every time you want to choose to use it or not. Maybe you really like FPS games, so you like having those FPS settings, but every once in a while you want to play a platformer or a fighting game or something, so you don't want to change your settings, but you'll just flip it off and just go back to standard, then go back to FPS when you're playing your mainstays. That makes a lot of sense, and that's a really cool feature. I like that a lot. So this guy MSRP's at $49.99, which is a really good price considering the quality of it. I actually quite like this controller. I just wish that it fit my hands a little bit better, but again, I'm not really the target demographic for this controller, so it kind of makes sense. We're going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10. We really like this one as well. We're not quite as in love with it as the headset, but it's still an amazing controller, and we're really excited that it exists. And if you have small to mid-sized hands, if you like having software to get fine control over your games, if you enjoy just the good click of a good button, this is an excellent controller. I kind of wish that there was a wireless option for it, but it is targeted towards competitive gaming, and zero latency is sort of the bill on that one, so the wired connection makes sense. The nice long cable is good as well, especially since this might be used in living room gaming a lot, and the design is just really cool. So all in all, we're a fan. But that's gonna do it for us today. We really hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and drop down into the comments and let us know what you think. Are you interested in one of these? And if not, what do you think you're gonna get instead? While you're down there, please go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe. We're a growing channel, and every new subscription really counts for us right now. All right, thanks for watching. Happy gaming.